Hello, I'm here with Stefanie Garcia Turner from Túyyo Foods. Hello, Stefanie.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. So I want to talk about your brand.
Okay.
Your Aqua Fresca is very special. I had a chance to try it recently. I want to talk about that in a minute.
All right.
But first, tell us how this brand is similar to what you enjoyed in your childhood and what makes it unique and special.
Yeah. So agua fresca is, this kind of quintessential drink that you enjoy in many Latin households and specifically Mexican households. But I do think like a version of this beverage exists in a lot of different countries. So there is a sense of familiarity of it in that, it's a blend of fruit, sugar, and water. And in some cases, grains, like in horchata, which is made from the rice grain. And it's really light, it's really refreshing. And I remember my grandmother on my mom's side, like she would make a lot of these drinks when I was younger. And she would blend up the sandia, the watermelon. She would, do cantaloupe and the other melons. And they're just inherently sweet, which is really great and wonderful. And they just make these like super refreshing beverages. And it's a way to integrate fruit into, your life, and especially fruit that maybe is a little overripe too. Like, so it can be a way to kind of preserve and to kind of save products from going bad. And you get to enjoy it. And it goes great with spicy food. It's great on hot days. So, my grandma being in San Antonio, like it's hot.
Yes, right.
It's hot in Texas.
So these are beverage.
Oh yes, you need the cool beverage, and just something that would just be really refreshing.
So you talk about this being a very popular beverage during your childhood in your family. So how does it show up at family gatherings and celebrations?
Yeah, so family gatherings, a lot of times there's going to be like sandia, watermelon is probably one of the big favorites. There'll be some kind of like that juice being made, and somebody blending it up and making it, and especially because with my family, the whole family is invited, right? There's no such thing as like an adults only occurrence. So there's going to be kids there and everything. And so these beverages, like they turn out to be great mixers for the adults. And then they turn out to be really great options for the kids. And so with my product, what I've done is make it into a really convenient format where it has the dehydrated fruits powders in the mix, sweetened with agave, and you just add water, and then you're able to have this refreshing drink made at home.
We talked about going from summer to winter, so this product can go with us through the seasons. We can add the mango or the strawberry to hot tea. I had not thought about that idea. I think that's very creative. And the one made with grains, how do you pronounce that one?
Horchata, so it's Horchata, but the H is silent, so you kind of just say the horchata part.
I want hot cocoa made with this one.
Oh yeah.
Add some cacao.
Oh my gosh.
And make it hot. It just feels like it'll be warming, soothing, just nourishing to the soul. I can relate to this because it just feels fun.
Yeah.
And when I was trying your beverage, the flavor, and I want to talk about your various flavors and recipe ideas, that kind of stood out for me. I think my favorite was probably pineapple.
Right.
Because I think about, making that into a pina colada.
Okay, love it.
Right?
Yeah.
And just sitting back and having that chatter with girlfriends. You can hear the kids playing in the background, just family all around.
Yeah.
But to have a nice beverage, some great conversation is such a beautiful way to create connection and community.
Yeah, I love that. I love that your mind went there because that's what it's all about, right? So Túyyo is Túyyo in Spanish, which means you and me. And I really wanted this brand to be about coming together. I think you don't really want to have like a party for one, right? You want to be able to experience and share moments with other people.
You spoke earlier about the importance of products feeling familiar to a community. By putting the label in Spanish, it helps it to be not only more accessible in terms of people being able to read the label, but to feel like it's theirs and that it comes from them. Like
right now in this day and age, there's a lot of people who, especially in the US, if they're first, second, third generation, maybe they don't speak Spanish fluently, because they've been raised in the US. maybe they speak Spanglish like myself, or I'm much more comfortable speaking kind of both languages intermixed into each other. Or maybe they really speak Spanish, because for whatever reasons, that is just their primary language. And I wanted the product to be accessible to the customer and to specifically, the Hispanic customer, no matter kind of what their level is. I wanted it to be something where if abuela looks at it and maybe she's only really speaking Spanish, then she'll know exactly what that product is. And if the grandkids are looking at it and they're bilingual, they know exactly what it is. So it just I wanted it to be this kind of, new item that, quite frankly, we don't currently see where labels are in both languages.
Yes. I think it is about trust, right? Having a product that is familiar, that tastes the way it's supposed to taste, showing that you care about the community and you're doing the right thing by them. And having it in Spanish helps to just close the gap to something that may be a new brand for them. But when they look at it and then they try it, it's familiar. Yeah. And it feels like it belongs to them. This is their beverage. I want to talk about another observation you've made about the importance of product placement. Many of us go through our grocery stores and we see the international food aisle. I did a little research into when that happened. And initially, I think some of it occurred after World War II and the Vietnam War, so that soldiers would come back home and find products they had become familiar with. Of course, with the influx of immigrants, it was important for people to be able to find their favorite foods. As a vegetarian in 1990, it was the way I added variety to my menu. But you have mentioned before that you think it's time for us to pivot and to do it differently. So can you tell us a little bit about your thoughts around that?
Yeah, I feel like now we have gone through a couple decades of folks discovering new flavors, whether that's through restaurants, whether that's through their own traveling. And now they're looking for stuff in a grocery store that reminds them of, an experience, a place that they've seen this new recipe, online or in a cookbook, and they want to try it. And having a product that is, of ethnic origin in a different aisle, I think creates this barrier for the customer, because if it's a sauce, you have kind of sauces in one aisle, but maybe this one is, an Asian sauce or Hispanic sauce, and now you're kind of being forced to try and hunt it down somewhere else. So I do think there is a great opportunity for a retailer to just look at things in more really a straight category perspective versus separating things out.
I think having it segregated in the way that we find it today really cuts off the curiosity and spontaneity. I may not know I'm looking for a new Asian sauce or a new Mexican product, but if I saw it in my grocery aisle as I was naturally shopping, I may have a spark of interest and decide to try it and take it home.
Absolutely. I think that's spot on. And for the entrepreneur as well, as a brand, it's also creates a difficulty because you don't know who the buyer is that you should be talking to. In my case, should I be talking to the beverage buyer because my product is a powdered beverage? Or do I talk to the one who buys, the ethnic foods? So there just creates this difficulty that, can inhibit speed to market, and it sets brands back because they're maybe talking to the wrong person. For the retailer, it also inhibits that ability to get something on shelf that's really of the moment, and that they're, getting delayed on it. Missed opportunities.
I think about immigrant, other minority business starters who are already facing so many barriers, and to have to go through another hurdle just to try to understand how to work with a grocery retailer and get their food to market could really be daunting for some, and it could stop them from continuing the process. So these are things that I'm glad we're talking about. I hope more people think about this so we can really eliminate unnecessary barriers and we can get more diverse foods on all of our shelves.
Me too.